Relationships are built in the silences. You spend time with people, you observe them and interact with them. We spend so much time being afraid of failure, afraid of rejection. When we forget our ability to think, we should fear. We learn to be helpless. In many ways, to live as an essentialist in our too many things all the time society is an act of quiet revolution. So reading a book a week has genuinely challenged me and changed my thinking and also basically changed my life. I've learned wonderful life lessons, kind of important mottos, and gained such a better understanding of the way that other people live who live very different lives from the one that I do. However, I often come across these amazing quotes and, as I said, life lessons and mottos, etc. to live by, but I find it very difficult to remember them or to write them down all in one place. Or sometimes I borrow books from my friends that obviously I'm not going to write in, sometimes I read on my Kindle, sometimes I read books that I borrowed from the library, and so I thought I would start a commonplace book to essentially put all those life lessons, those quotes, and everything in between in one place. This is by absolutely no means finished. I've only just started putting in some of the quotes that I love, and the ones that I chose to start with were Shrill by Lindy West, Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, Essentialism by some man, and Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. And these are all different and interesting books because they really taught me something in very different ways. So I've spoken about Shrill before, how she talks about privilege and being a white woman in feminism, and talking about being a fat woman in a world that deems fat bodies essentially unattractive and unappealing, and the way that she's treated because of her body. And Trevor Noah in Born a Crime teaches me all about his experience having a white father and a black mother growing up in South Africa, and the apartheid and what that meant for him and what that meant for his mum and his father, and therefore his family life and his complete education and experience just in the world. He also teaches you a lot of lessons about being. He also teaches you a lot of lessons about relationships. And one of my favourite quotes, he says, "Relationships are built in the silences. You spend time with people, you observe them and interact with them, and you come to know them." I just feel like that's really beautiful. And it's just really interesting how much of an insight he has into the way that people react with one another, interact, how people treat each other if you have something in common. And for him, he said that language was what brought him closer to people and what differentiated him between people. He chose to learn all the languages spoke in South Africa. Being able to speak the language allowed him to enter into spheres where he would not have otherwise been accepted. And it's really interesting the way he talks about that. So I wanted to write that down as a kind of reminder of how important language is, and when we go to different countries as English speakers, how important it is that we don't assume that other people will speak English, and how we should try and learn their language and speak to them in their country, in their words, because language is what brings people together and also what separates us. Essentialism, again, as you've probably seen throughout my videos, has been really important for the way that I have started viewing things and viewing kind of my life. And it's really interesting, some of the stuff that I've written in here, like, what if we stopped celebrating being busy as a measurement of importance? We very much so now do kind of put our status on how busy we are and how many social events we have and how many people we're going to hang out with and how much work we have and how late we stay at the office. And this kind of makes it seem as though what's important is how essentialist you are about the things you choose to do, rather than saying yes to everything and being happy 50% of the time, rather than saying no to the majority and yes to the vital few, and being able to be happy because you've chosen what gives you the most value, not what you think other people will see that value in you as. And then the last one is conversations with friends. I've also read Normal People by Sally Rooney. I read them really close together, and I really like her interactions between people. And what I really loved is you live through certain things before you understand them. You can't always take the analytical position. It's really interesting the way that she talks about experiences and how we can be quite analytical until we have actually lived through them, and then we understand the emotional side of them. And it's just a nice reminder for me that just because I have not experienced something does not mean it is an incredible and painful emotional experience for somebody else. And I think it's really important that we all kind of recognize that. So it's a nice reminder for me, especially in my activism, to think about other people and think about their experience, not just my own. So that's as far as I've got so far, and I'm going to continue working on it. And all of these kind of pieces of tape that I've used are just things that I found around the house and ones that my mum used to use, etc. I didn't want to go out and buy new stationery because obviously I want to keep this low waste. I don't want to use lots of extra stuff that I don't need. But it's beginning to become a really beautiful place to put everything. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed a cup of tea or coffee or whatever you are drinking. And please let me know if you have ever made a commonplace book, or if you're going to, and if so, yes, what are you going to make it on? I hope you enjoyed seeing this, and I'm going to continue to show updated versions of the book with the books that I am reading and noting from over the next few months and the rest of the year as well. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys very, very soon. See you later. Bye.